to make our dream catcher, I have a paper plate that I've painted with all nice cool colours with a bit of a gradient kind of mix up, and I have put my name, and I don't have a class, but I put my name on it, and then cut out the inside for you using a Stanley knife or a blade that's a bit tricky to do with scissors. And then next we're going to put holes around so we can thread our star Dreamcatcher web. And I've got two different hole punches in the art room. There's this one, which if you look closely, you hopefully can see the hole being punched there, or these silver ones, which work in the same way, punching like this. Either way, you need to get the edge of the plate all the way in, so sometimes flattening that edge so you can see the paper is touching that edge there, and that means that the hole will come out further in. If I don't push it all the way in, you can see there that paper is not actually being caught, and if we push it only part way in, it might just make a little dint like that. So you can choose how many holes you want to make all the way around the edge. We're not going to do the traditional pattern of the Dreamcatcher unless you want to challenge yourself with that. We're just going to make a nice crisscross star. Now if you're using this one, again, you need to go in between, under this, whatever this mechanism is here, you need to get the plate in between this bit and the bottom of the jaw like a crocodile. Push it all the way in and then punch. So this one's a little bit harder to squeeze, but it is easier to see where your hole is landing. You can also do the holes on the inside. You can choose which way you want to do it. If you were going to do the hole on the inside, it's a bit hard with these silver ones to get the handle in there, so these coloured ones might be a little bit easier. But the same thing applies where you need to shove that paper edge all the way in as far as it goes, so you don't end up with holes just right on the edge. Next, I've got my thread that I took out of the Yarn Monster, and with one end I'm going to thread through one of those holes and then tying a knot. So with those two ends here, I'm going to cross the short end over and then around. The snake tail goes all the way through the hole and then pull. So that's one knot, and that will probably come undone if it's too loose. So now I'm going to do a second knot to make sure that doesn't come undone. I'm going to cross the threads over, and the short one is going to go around behind and then through the hole, so now I have a double knot. Now you have the choice of doing a pattern around if you want. I'm going to thread my needle to make it a bit easier. So I'm going to go through the eye of my needle and then pull that through. And I'm going to make a star going back and forth across. I'm always going to go through the top side, go over to the other side, and then when my thread is too short and I still want to do more patterns, then I can tie to a new thread. So then to tie to the next thread, I'm going to put the two tails together pointing in the same direction and then making a loop with both of the threads, around behind with both of the threads, and then pull those little bunny ears out, those two tails out, and that ties the two threads together. And then using the end, the long end, I'm going to use my needle again and just continue my pattern. So then when you've reached the end, we need to tie a knot again. I'm ending at the same place, you don't need to. I'm ending at the same place, and I'm going to get that thread that I've just pulled through the hole, cross them over, but I've got it going through the paper plate at the same time. I'm crossing the threads and then around, behind and through the hole. And then a double knot, doing that a second time. Cross it over, around, behind, and then pulling it to make a double knot. So then at the bottom of the plate, I'm going to do some more threads hanging down using another type of knot called a raya knot. I'm going to get a thread and about halfway, see how I've got that in halfway, this loop here is going to go through one of these holes, and then those tails go through that loop, and that's called a raya knot. And you can do that with a variety of colors. So I've got the loop, poke the loop through the hole, and then get the two tails through the loop. Then you can also add on the bottom of those raya knots some beads. I do again find it much easier if I've threaded my needle. To thread them on. And when you've put on a couple that you like the pattern of, we're going to do that knot again, tying onto something. If I just tie a regular knot here, that will be too small. If I do just a knot like that, those threads will just come through. So I'm going to tie onto this last bead. I'm going to loop, make a loop, and then around through the hole and tying onto the bead. And do that twice to make a double knot, cross over the loop, around behind, and then through the hole and pull. And then they'll fall down like this, so they can be held by that bottom one.